All right, last week. Here we are in week 14. And so this week encompasses our last week of content. And then we have Thanksgiving break, which is in a weird place because there's only 1 or 2 days of school left after Thanksgiving. So this is a longer week because we've got a full week of school and then Thanksgiving break and then 1 or 2 extra days of class. So this week we're talking about feasibility studies. So UA Little Rock just did one and the results came back. They talked about what it would take, mostly financially, but also with regard to some other issues, what it would take to add football and band programs. So I've got a link to that study in this week's content. I've also got a video that I found about a different school. It's just kind of the story of how a different school was looking to upgrade their division status in the NCAA. And so I just thought that was a really nice explanation of some of the things that school was going through in their particular feasibility study. So there's a few differences between the school in the video and what Euler was specifically looking at in its feasibility study. So feasibility studies are basically it's an analysis of some of the different peer schools and market situations and financial situations and whether people are going to buy tickets or not, and if there are enough boosters and if the economy will support maybe ticket sales, and that's things that Little Rock looked at when they're considering the feasibility of adding football and band programs. So different feasibility studies look at different situations. So we can look at those differences here in this first section between Little Rock's situation and then the school and the video situation. So feasibility studies are our last topic, and I think further down in this kind of intro message. Or in this week's content, I'm sorry, I've also included a clip and some information about a feasibility that the city of Little Rock just did in looking at adding some sports facilities mostly for indoor sports like volleyball and basketball. So that would have been under the Little Rock Parks section in the city. So I wanted to just give you some other examples of feasibilities beyond just college sports. Pro teams do this, campus rec departments do this, and then city parks and rec departments do this too for their own sports facilities. So last week we talked about economic impact, and that's a different kind of analysis. This week we're talking about feasibility studies. Would it be financially feasible to build new facilities or to add a program or to upgrade an NCAA division? Last week we talked about economic impact, and that is if the facility gets built or if the team gets added, what kind of economic benefit or impact will the city see? Will tax revenue increase? Will hotel revenue increase? Will restaurant business increase? And if so, how much? Is it going to be enough to make it worth the cost of adding that facility? So a couple of different kind of analyses that we both see, pretty much every few years we'll cycle through another round of if this team comes or if this facility gets built, what will happen? What will the effects be? And so if you look at Little Rock or maybe some of our peer cities or sister cities, for example, St. Louis just did it with adding an MLS team. And so my parents live in St. Louis, so I kind of follow their sports too. And they're going to add an MLS team. And so you better believe that they had to do some economic impact analysis to see what that would be like if they added that. And so I wanted to bring that up again because you've got the economic impact analysis assignment coming up at the end of this week's content. So I just wanted to kind of bring your mind back to that. It's different from a feasibility study. So I just wanted to know, or just wanted to kind of make that clear that we're kind of shifting back towards last week's content when you look at that economic impact analysis assignment. And I mentioned that in last week's content too. So I kind of gave you a little bit of a verbal overview of that assignment. It's kind of one of your bigger ones. So I saved it till the end because we talked about it in kind of towards the end of this class's material. So just wanted to say hi and, you know, kind of throw in my 2 cents about feasibility studies. I think they're interesting because you do kind of see them. If you watch the local news, you see them in our own community. And so that's kind of some very visible examples that have happened here in the last couple of years. So and we look at those in this week's content. Have a great week and then a great Thanksgiving week. And thank you again for being in this class with me. Towards the end of this week's content, there are a few words about the last test. So the second test and when that is available, the dates that it's available, or the date, I'm sorry, that it's available, and when you need to make alternative arrangements with me if you need to do that. You know, if not, great, smooth sailing. If so, it's no big deal. I just need to know by the end of the day, 5 p.m., the day before the test. So, and I've got those dates for you further down in this week's content. So, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.